I've mentioned a few times before on my channel what my MOS in the Army was. Some people have mistaken me for Navy intelligence or Marine Corps intelligence because of the investigation into the issue with the Fitzgerald. Just for clarity, I was not in the Navy. I was not in the Marines. I was in the Army. And I wasn't some super soldier. I didn't have some super high level clearance. I was an average everyday. They called us Army interrogators at the time. They have changed the name now to Human Intelligence Collector. They've also changed the designation. It's a 30-something series. I'm not exactly sure what it is. But at the time, it was 97 Echo. Now, the reason I led the video with this, training to become an interrogator is not what you think. It really isn't. There's a lot of physical demand on you just to make sure that you have your mind right, that you can maintain your military bearing no matter what. A couple hours ago, I was watching the press conference with the president and this gaggle of reporters. And I'm sure some of you might have seen this at the end. It got a little tense. But I was listening to the CNN, reporter speak. And one thing that you do know in military intelligence is that when you're listening to somebody who is also from a branch of intelligence, the way we do things, the way that we are trained to do things is very specific. And you train with other interrogators who've been in the service for longer than you. And they know how to trap you. They know how to get you to make the mistake. They know how to get you to lose control of the interview. There's all sorts of tactics and techniques. And I saw one. This Asian reporter for CNN. Guys, I'm telling you right now, I know what her wiki says. This girl is military intelligence trained. The way she asked this question, and it's a little 2-minute and 30-second clip I'm going to play for you, is exactly, I had stuff like this thrown at me all the time. And when you're 19 and 20 and 21 years old, you don't react very maturely at the time because you're 19, 20, and 21 years old. The way she phrased this question was exactly how somebody attempting to take control of an interview would do it. So without any further delay, let me go ahead and maximize this out so we can see it and we can listen real close to how she asks the question. All right, here we go.
We're still seeing more cases every day.
Well, they're losing their lives everywhere in the world. And maybe that's a question you should ask China. Don't ask.
1 second. Let's back this up a little bit. Sorry about that. Take 2. Here we go.
You've said many times that the U.S. is doing far better than any other country when it comes to testing.
Yes.
Why does that matter? Why is this a global competition to you if everyday Americans are still losing their lives and we're still seeing more cases every day?
Okay, now that seems like it would be a fair question. But what she just did right there at the end, she took a question that should have been objective and she made it subjective. She basically attempted to make this idea of us doing better, subjectively or objectively, something that has led to the president attempting to see this as a competition. The proper answer here is, I reject categorically your assertion, ma'am, that I see this as a competition. In fact, on many occasions, ma'am, respectfully, your organization and many others have used the testing results in other countries to denigrate ours. So when I put our results up next to theirs, that's in a response to the way that you have couched questions in the past. Now, you would have to probably be trained to understand that little tweak that she did and how to respond to it there at the end. That was not an objective question. That was a subjective question with an insult built into it. Part of me would think that there's also a second way to answer that. Because these reporters are there by privilege, and there's certain things that you can't do. You can't load in certain assumptions into questions that denigrate the character of the person you're asking the question of. For example, there have been pictures in the past of the president with Stormy whatever, and he was on Playboy. If she would say, given your addiction to pornography, why would you think blah, 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 and adding that in? You see, not only would that be a wrong way of asking the question, it would be denigrating him personally. So she was asking him a personal question, and then he responded. And here's the crazy part about this. Watch what happens here.
Well, they're losing their lives everywhere in the world. And maybe that's a question you should ask China. Don't ask me. Ask China that question, okay? When you ask them that question, you may get a very unusual answer. Yes, behind.
Now, she's quick. She's real quick here. And this is why I think she's been trained by somebody other than CNN or William and Mary or whatever her bio says. Because she takes the opportunity here to try to twist this into some kind of personal attack back on her. He says, asks China, and she is of Asian descent. And her other backup reporter, or not reporter, but journalist person, comes up and continues to support her asking this question, and this just devolves. But what she did here smacks of exactly how you throw people off balance. I would love to be the spokesman for Mr. Trump. I really would with this group of amateurs. She's the only one that's not. In fact, if anyone out there has the ability to relate any information to people around Mr. Trump that's listening right now, I would advise, humbly, that he go searching for a representative who has military training in human intelligence to do these briefings. Because information is information. It doesn't matter what the information is. How people act, how they respond, it's all the same. I mean, Navy intelligence, Army intelligence, it's all human intelligence is human intelligence. It doesn't matter what the color of a uniform is. Now, real quick, just to back this up a little bit, who remembers the video that I did talking about when Ron DeSantis was sitting next to the president? And he absolutely fed them their lunch. Just destroyed them. I'm going to play that and show, just for example, how you deal with an aggressive questioner this way. Going to be the next big hotspot and all these people are going to die. I'm going to let this play out and I'm going to have you watch this and see how this guy absolutely decimates these people trying to catch him in some kind of a gotcha moment. So without any further delay, here we go.
Cutting off Brazil. I mean, you're gonna.
Well, not necessarily cut them off, but it's just if you're going to fly to Miami, then the airline should give you the Abbott test and then put you on the plane. But
Would you ever want to ban certain countries?
If they were seeding the United States, I think you should ban them.
You're watching and you'll let us know.
But I would say in the United States, or in Florida, in spite of all the international travel, I mean, we have so many people that go to Orlando, Miami, and all that. If you look at our outbreak, not a lot of it is tied to that. It's mostly tied to New York City travel than to the 3 Southern Florida, because the Orlando situation is worlds different than Palm Beach and Broward and Miami-Dade, but yet they have as much international travel as anybody. And yet, as of this morning, I think Orlando had 50 people hospitalized in that whole area for COVID-19. I mean, people were predicting.
Just caveat when he gives stats here, of course, this is an April 28th video. We're going to get to the important part here because one of the reporters earlier to this had asked a question directly related to the one that we just talked about. Meaning that compared to this country, did the U.S. do this, that, or the other? And this was something the media led with, trying to make it a competition, not the president.
There were going to be hundreds of thousands hospitalized in Florida by this time. So they had a really modest outbreak.
50. What happened to the big apocalypse from Disney that was open in all the way into March?
Southeast Florida. I mean, still by some of these other standards, not as bad as other parts of the country. But that was really more of a domestic seeding, I think, than international.
We're going to be in touch on that. Go ahead.
And require that people take tests before they take international flights, and why not even require that people wear masks
So
on
we're looking at
planes?
that, and we're probably going to be doing that. Brazil has pretty much of an outbreak, as you know. They also went a different way than other countries in South America. If you look at the chart, you'll see what happened, unfortunately, to Brazil. So we're looking at it very closely, and we're in coordination with other governors also, but in particular with...
Stick with me here. It's coming up. I know there was a lot of kind of garbage in here, but Dr. Birx is going to speak here. And this is really important to make this point.
Ron, we'll make that decision pretty soon.
All international
Well,
flights.
we're looking at that. That's a very big thing to do. You know, again,
So let
I
me-
did it with China, I did it with Europe. That's a very big thing to do. It's certainly a very big thing to do to Florida because you have so much business from South America. So we'll be looking at that.
So to our Yahoo gentlemen, I just want to make it clear that South Korea's testing was 11 per 100,000, and we're at 17 per 100,000. So
Okay, so the interviewer guy from Yahoo, not CNN, had attempted to make some allegation that South Korea was doing better than we are. Why aren't we doing this and this and this and this and this? So this is a media allegation. And that reporter from CNN made it as if it was something coming from the president. They're the ones that have made this a competition. But watch what DeSantis does after this. This is amazing. This is how you go after somebody who's playing games.
Are you going to apologize, Yahoo? That's why you're Yahoo. Nobody knows who. Go ahead. Let's
Based
go.
on the numbers,
That's why nobody knows who you are, including me. Go ahead.
just check it again.
You ought to get your facts right.
But we have had.
Okay, let your facts so long. Let's go.
Just to clarify what you were just talking about, you're looking at cutting off more international travel from Latin America.
No, we're talking to the governor. We're talking with others also that have a lot of business coming in from South America, Latin America, and
I know there's a lot of stuff here that doesn't have to do with Florida, but just I couldn't cut it off right in the middle and jump through it. It's the way Hulu works. But just stick with. Here we go. Hold on.
Interstate as soon as some did. There's a
Yeah,
lot of
look
potential.
at the results been. You look at some of the most draconian orders that have been issued in some of these states and compare Florida in terms of our hospitalizations per 100,000, in terms of our fatalities per 100,000. I mean, you go from DC, Maryland, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, you name it, Florida's done better. And I'm not criticizing those states, but everyone in the media was saying Florida was going to be like New York or Italy. And that has not happened because we understood we have a big diverse state. We understood the outbreak was not uniform throughout the state. And we had a tailored and measured approach that not only helped our numbers be way below what anyone predicted, but also did less damage to our state going forward. I had construction going on, the road projects, but we did it in a safe way. And we did it, I think, in a way that is probably more sustainable over the long term. So I think people can go back and look at all the criticism and then look now, and nobody predicted that Florida would. We have challenges. This is not an easy situation. We've had people in the hospital, but I'm now in a situation where I have less than 500 people at a state of 22 million on ventilators as of last night. And I have 6,500 ventilators that are sitting idle, unused throughout the state of Florida.
Okay, you see, this guy was a JAG officer. This guy, I'm telling you what, in an ideal world, I would love for there to be a libertarian takeover. honestly. But that I live in a state where this man is the governor, thank God every day. Thank God every day for that. Because it just got quiet in that room. This is what the president needs. He needs some attack dogs. And he needs to go into military intelligence and dig these guys out. I know they're in there. I know they're around. And to put these reporters in their place. They're there to serve the people, not their political agendas. The idea behind free press is keeping the people informed, not pushing the political agendas of the organizations. You know who I think would be an excellent choice? I haven't been a giant fan of him in the past, but he has the right attitude. Trey Gowdy. Trey Gowdy would have been a fantastic choice. Because you just can't let these people get away with it. You just can't do it. There was, and I'll leave with this. Some years ago, and I'll see if I can find the link on YouTube, there was an interview with Bill Clinton and Chris Wallace. And it was the reverse. Chris Wallace, on behalf of Fox, was trying to set up Slick Willie. And you might not like Bill Clinton. I mean, he was best friends with Donald Trump for 30 years, but played golf with him, did all sorts of things. Honored guest at his wedding. He was good. When it came to dealing with the press, you did not get better than Bill Clinton. And like I said, I'm not talking about the decency of the man. I'm not talking about how good a president he was. When it came to shutting down these reporters, he was a master of it. And I'll say this too, and I guess I'll leave with this. Given the choice between getting rid of the parties or getting rid of the media, I'd get rid of the media first. I think getting rid of the parties is an integral part of getting rid of the media. We have two sides of the media. We have these two parties. They're really both all one people. Why? Because they all live in New York or DC. Or DC. They're all the same people. They're all the same group of people. Mind-wise, mentally. They don't have anything to do with the rest of us. So to me, the two things are intertwined. To get rid of the RD paradigm, we have to get rid of the mainstream media as we know it right now. And a great way to disarm them, this little ping pong game every 8 years, is to put somebody in, like a Gary Johnson, or some other libertarian. I don't care who it is. As long as they're not a parentheses R, parentheses D, I don't care who it is. It's just a placeholder person to disarm the media. Put a placeholder person in there that they can't say, well, are you this, or are you that, or are you the other? And then let him get some military attack dogs, some MI attack dogs, to go out and do these things. I would love to have one day with those reporters. It's been a long time since I was an interrogator, but I still know the basics. I know what questions not to answer, and I know when they're trying to play a game. You'll never see me say I'm Delta Force or Special Forces or SEAL or anything like that. I was never a super soldier. But if it was one thing I did know how to do, it was figure out when someone's trying to play a game, when someone's lying, when someone has a different agenda. So, humbly, Mr. President, or anyone attached or around to him that's listening, find somebody from Army intelligence, Marine intelligence, military intelligence, from the human intelligence side. Bring them in and let them handle this. You will be amazed. I don't think it's any accident that a JAG officer, Ron DeSantis, our governor, was able to just Shut those people up. So, I've spoken my piece. Have a great night. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time.